Hey Facebook, happy rainy Thursday. Finally back in my car today, my mobile office. Where I have several things that I still need to remove from my car, but sadly I took my raincoat out of my car today, which was a mistake. So I'm now loaded back up. I had this is the time of year where I spend a lot of time actually in my correspondence emailing people and telling them, I'm really sorry I can't make it to your events. I have 2 other events scheduled that evening. So we are really packed. There's so much happening in our region in October. Of course, it's a beautiful time of year, even on a rainy day like today. But that's why I'm back in my car again, driving back and forth between various things. The sort of theme of this week is work. And I've just had a series of, conversations and meetings and events that have all gone back to this idea of the power and dignity of work, and how, I know many of us as parents tell our kids that that's something that you can, they can control for themselves, to learn to love, to work, to learn to love the process. If you do that, then you're going to have options in life and you will have flexibility. And I've also spoken before about how in our economy, over the last several decades, we've lost some of that and emphasized, the financial end of our economy, and which I believe has created a lot of income inequality throughout the country, and certainly in Connecticut, where the sort of spoils of the economy, the benefits of the recovery since the last recession, have gone to a very small number of people. And I think as public servants, part of our obligation is to make sure we create a system that creates an economy that we can all benefit in, so that work, if you work, you can support a family and send your kids to good schools and be able to, have a home that is going to be there for you, and have good food and all those things. And sometimes systems are in place that we don't realize that we're sort of blind to them. And then we wake up decades later and realize that their costs. And I think now we're in a moment where we're trying to correct some of that, I hope. I'm certainly part of that. And part of that, there's so many things that I connected that to. So I spent, as you know, I listened to a lot of podcasts driving around, and my daughter recommended a new one to me recently, which is Julie Foudy, who you may remember was on the women's 1999 national soccer team. And she has a podcast called Laughter Permitted, which she interviews female athletes. And if you're any of you who are fans of female athletes, or former female athletes, or current female athletes yourself, I strongly recommend it. It's super fun to listen to. And I just was listening to an interview with a couple of different athletes, Crystal Dunn and Michaela Schifrin, the skier, and Crystal Dunn, the defensive player on the women's soccer team in this year's World Cup. Both because of the Michaela Schifrin, because she loved the workouts. She loved showing up for work every day. And if you can love the process and love to get the work done, other things follow from that. And Crystal Dunn in particular, because she had setbacks and what she did. And I found a lot of that ties into some of the conversations we've had about, teaching kids, giving them social and emotional learning skills, that they can be resilient, that when they face setbacks in life and trauma and stress, we give them tools to thrive from that, to learn from that, to have that be a positive experience rather than set them off on a path of, addiction and mental challenges. So that was a little profound. That's my podcast recommendation today. Another event that I went to this week was at the American Mural Project, which some of you may be familiar with. It's in Winstead, so it's adjacent to my district, although not in my district. And the Mural Project there is about work, the art of work. And it is we had a meeting, an event there earlier this week with Senator Chris Murphy and Representative Michelle Cook, and a whole bunch of people involved in arts and education throughout the region, talking about, first of all, to hear Ellen Grizadak, let me give her some props here, who is the spiritual, emotional, and literal leader of this project, the enthusiasm that she has for every single person that she works with, everybody who comes through and makes a contribution, a child who who makes a comment about it, who comes through, a worker who's there just to deliver something. I mean, everybody who sets foot on that and participates in that project has been a part of it and is wrapped into the fabric of it. And it's not completed yet, so it's a work in progress. But I'm going to put details of of it in my newsletter, so that I strongly recommend. It's a really pretty profound experience to go there and see. You will look at that mural and see members of your family. You will see yourself at various points in your life, and about how, again, the power and dignity of work is an incredible thing, and it unites us all. And it's Ellen, and everybody working on this is really committed to bringing that lesson to kids and connecting with kids from in particular all around the country. So that was a really fantastic thing. I recommend to everybody to go and visit that. What other events do we have this week? We also, speaking of work and small businesses, Governor Lamont was in Torrington and Norfolk earlier this week with myself and Representative Michelle Cook and a bunch of people from both Torrington and Norfolk. In Torrington, we toured the sort of central section of Torrington, which I have talked about before, is really at a tipping point. And in fact, my day started that day, even before Lamont got there, meeting with friends of mine who are expanding their business in Torrington.